Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the Ought to Know Better podcast. This is the Berardi and Co aftermatch where we'll be talking about the away fixture against Watford. I am Gilly and I am joined tonight by my able assistant, Jay Cartier. How are you doing?
I don't know about able, mate. I'm full of cold. I feel terrible and I might sneeze a few times during this, but we'll see what happens.
Try and catch that mute button.
I'll be trying.
All right, pal. We're getting.
How are you doing, mate? How are you doing?
Oh, you know, it could be better, but it could be worse. And I am sponsored tonight by a creamy pint of Guinness. So,
well, you'll be very disappointed.
Oh, no, do you know what? It's not stellar. It's fine.
It were on offer. It'll do for me.
All right, we'll get an intro going. We'll get into it.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leeds are shit.
We're recording, you know.
Oh, shit.
We're the good start. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things. That's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this. The absolute shithousery of this. Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to those in the comments, to those just watching, and to those listening back on the audio podcast afterwards. Welcome along, and thank you for joining us. So we'll get right into it. Jay, quickest first question is lineup. I half expected that we would see Strike coming back into the lineup. Was it a bit of a surprise in defence that we stayed as we were? Or given how the fixtures pre-Millwall that we're not really going to talk about, given how they'd gone, is it not a surprise that we just reverted back to where we'd been?
Yeah, I think I expected us to play with the team we played with, to be honest, and that's a good thing. Seeing some of the stuff Strike did when he came on, he worries me a little bit. That guy, I think his ceiling has come down as the years have progressed from where he was when we got him. He's pretty solid and reliable for the most part, but Ampadu's just better. You don't get caught out like he does. Not so much, anyway.
Yeah, I think he reads the game much better, doesn't he? It's not like he's much quicker.
No?
He just ends up in the right place more often than not, I think is the point, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and I think if you consider, so we did say before we came on, we're not going to spend much time talking about Millwall, but given the showing that we had from them, even further up the pitch, it's not really a surprise that we saw the attacking lineup that we did, is it? Solomon and Dan James have been on fire. Pirro's been scoring goals. It's not really a surprise, is it?
We've got people in the team right now in the front line that are picking themselves. You just can't drop them. Yeah.
And I think, was it you that brought the stats about starting a defensive midfielder in away games? And the stats that I stole from the comments on one of the Square Ball podcasts. Right, yeah. Is it this one here, actually? It is. It's still in the media assets. The midfield tracker for away games. So this was a week or two ago now, wasn't it? Without a defensive-minded CM, so Gruevo Ampadu, we've played 8, won 1, drawn 5, lost 2.
This will be before Coventry, I think.
Yeah, and with one, either Gruevo or Ampadu, played 5, won 5, drawn 2, lost none. And we've only improved that from then. So it's quite an amazing start, especially when you consider just how many clean sheets we're getting on the road.
I hope. Peterborough.
Oh, Peterborough, nice. Yeah, keep an eye on it, everybody. Keep us up to date with how that's going. But yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because early on in the season, people were saying, "Oh, away form, it's dipped. He's got to sort it out." I mean, he has, hasn't he?
Hey, do you know what? Everything we've criticised him about, apart from maybe the substitutes, he's addressed in the last few sort of games. Like, it's not boring anymore, is it?
So I've seen a lot of comments focused on that, and they were always going to come, weren't they? If we did turn it around in such a big way, but do you feel that there is this? Since Burnley is let go the reins and he's asking them to play more freely and get at people, or do you think it's a bit of, for some reason, the opposition to play in the way that we need them to really open it up? Is it just that we've hit form? Can you put your finger on it?
I think it's just a bit of everything. It's a a perfect storm in a good way. It's everything just seems to be falling into place, which is weird for us and doesn't feel natural or right. I'm waiting for it to all go drastically wrong, but it just feels like he's. Oh, go on. Ian Ward says 1-1.
It's now 1-1. Yeah,
I've just stuck it on the international radio, which I'm listening to on silent because I'm that good. But yeah, I think everything's just come together. I think it's a combination of things. I think the players probably had a bit of a sort of determination about them to get back on track. Farke seems to have stopped being so. I don't know, so. Where's the word gone from my brain? Cautious, and so sort of hell bent on keeping the ball till we find the perfect opportunity. I think he's now become more comfortable with what the squad he's got can do. Now that I think that he's possibly played a blinder and made all of us that questioned him look like idiots. But, time will tell on that. It could just be good form. It could all go wrong. We could have a bad run. It's Leeds United. Anything can happen. But right now, that's how it looks to me.
And it is incredible. I think we said it, you and I, on a B&C about 2 weeks ago. It's incredible that Meslier had that period, and everybody's going, he's got to drop him now. He dropped out. It was the Harrogate game he dropped out for, wasn't it? And came straight back in the league game, and we were all going, maybe this is a natural break. You can leave it. And then if there's another mistake or another issue or an injury or what have you, you can potentially bring him back in again after a bit of the heat's died down.
That's right.
And he's barely conceded anything since.
It's
a hell of a run.
It must have been a massive sort of pat on the back to Meslier for the manager to turn around and say, don't listen to any of that. I think you're the man for the job. I'm not going to drop you. I believe in you. And that's obviously done him a world of good because he looked like a broken man at one point.
He did. He really did. And I think the same can be said further up the pitch. If you look at Joel Pirro, he came under a lot of criticism. There were a lot of people. There are still people saying it now, let's be fair, but those people might be cranks. But there were a lot of people saying that Joe Pirro should be dropped. And now if you look at him and the scoring record he's got and the assists he's getting and, the involved, he's not an exciting player he's not Aguero. He's not Messi.
Yeah.
We're not expecting that of him. Exactly. There's so few players in the world that can do that. But he is scoring goals. He's taking chances. I almost like it. It's a bit frustrating when you see that there's a winger on the back post that's ready for a tap in and Pirro has a shot. I almost like that bit because we need it. We absolutely need him to be getting goals, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah, the best strikers are selfish at the end of the day. He's not there to create goals for other people. He's there to score them. Yeah. And that's what we need from him. That said, he does try to put people in if they're a better option. But a guy who's on a scoring run, he's not going to give up a chance when he's directly in front of the keeper. There's just no way. And I won't want him to. I won't want him to be that worried or for him to be that selfless. I want him to go for it because he can do it. And he's shown that. And he's had a sort of up and down season to this point, but he's come good when we really need him to. Joseph has done nothing.
Yeah, and he's on 14 goals at the moment, which puts him on track for a potential 20-goal season. Which at any level, if your main man up front is getting 20 goals, he's doing the job. But it's not even just that. We're talking about assists as well. He's at 20 goals and assists for the season already. He's got 6 assists. Now, you're right. His job is to get up there and it's to score goals, and he's doing that. But being able to play with players that are on fire, because they are. If you look at the stats of Dan James and Solomon over the course of the last 2 months, maybe 3 months, maybe, they are playing very well. I think Solomon's now 5 goals, 5 assists in 10 games.
Yeah,
and Dan James is in front of him.
and Solomon's never really been considered much of a goal scorer, has he?
I mean, let's be honest though. He has stepped down a level, and you can tell, can't you? You can
absolutely.
tell that these players have played at that level up. But that's
it's like when your kids playing football, isn't it? And somebody from a couple of years older turns up and starts playing with you,
Yeah.
and you're all just like, oh shit, you can't get near him, you can't touch him. That's a bit what Solomon's like in the Championship.
Or when you're playing five-a-side and somebody that played professional football comes along. We've been
like
there.
Clyde Wynard.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of the actual shape of the game, given how they played against, if you cast your mind back to the home game against them, we were 2 up very, very early on. And then actually during the course of the game, is that the one that Gruev got injured in? Somebody got injured, didn't they? The Watford home game earlier in the season. Somebody got injured quite early on, about 20 minutes, and so I think
him and Ampadu were both around the same time, so I can't remember.
Yeah, we were 2-0 up inside 10 minutes, and then for large parts of the game at our place, they were on top. Or Smarty says it was Ramazani, that might be right.
Okay.
And it kind of, for me, at that point, and he'd scored and he were looking good. That is right, isn't it? And I think so. We were forced into an early change. In that one, and it kind of changed the
early, didn't it?
Yeah. I think Ramazani on 4 and
scored, then got
Aaronson
injured about 5 minutes later.
Yeah, and actually through the course of the second half, there were large parts of that game when they were clearly on top, and we were hanging on towards the end at parts.
Yeah, definitely.
Given how well they played against us at our place, and given just how well we've been playing, were you surprised at how open they appeared to be?
I think that having had that second half against us, they maybe thought they could do more of the same, especially being at home. They maybe thought, we know how to play these now. You know, we've been through it once. We figured out a way in the second half. Let's just go do that. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's almost suicidal to try and play out against us.
It is.
I mean, at the moment, watching Leeds is like watching Harlem Globetrotters. It's just like shots raining down. It's like the end of Top Gun with Maverick and the MiGs, you know, when they're all round Iceland. It's like, oh, shit. Oh, they're everywhere. And it's just, that's what it's like at the minute with all the chances and all the attacks. And I'm loving it. Teams
except where the one's winning.
Yeah. Teams must fear it.
Yeah, and you know, there's a few comments coming in, but Roland's one here. The 4-0 against Watford shows that the 7-0 against Cardiff wasn't an accident. I think if you also consider Coventry, that could have quite easily been 7 or 8. But Roland goes on to say we can do it against a team that's not shit too, and I think it's interesting that you know, we heard about boring Farke ball. Well, we've scored 13 and conceded none in the last 3 league games, which is
we've not let a goal in since that whole game.
No,
we're all like, oh my god, Melier shite. We're letting goals in. Teams are coming. We had it wrapped up, and we've not let a goal in since.
Yeah, and that's
not in the league anyway.
Yeah, and yeah, I got where you were coming from, and it's quite incredible. I think the one thing that we talked about last season's slow start that we had, and for all the criticism I've levelled at the 49ers, that wasn't their fault. You know, there were lots of upheaval at the club. Players, we didn't know if they were staying, if they were going. So there were a lot of upheaval at the start of the season. And therefore, you know, there were changes in the side and you know, that did impact us. So there was a slow start. And I think looking at last season and looking at the course of this season, one of my biggest concerns is, but then what we did was we went on the best run the club has been on in 93 years from mid-January through to the end of March. And, you know, we caned everybody that we got in front of. Surely we can't replicate that. And if anything, we're just about to better it.
I'm used to us turning to shit after Christmas when we're having a good season. And now 2 years in a row we're doing this. And this season we're doing it without a Leicester, without an Ipswich. And if we do what we did last season, it's going to be enough.
Yeah. And you know, to all intents and purposes, actually, we're the Leicester. You know,
exactly.
It is that. And Vardy's been very, very good, especially against us. But he's been very, very good for a very long time, and he is impactful when he plays. And we might not have an individual standout player of that nature that can change a game in that way, because he just does. He's dynamic, and he plays up front, and he scores lots of goals, and he's hurt us a lot.
He did.
But
He was.
Yeah, he did. but I think if you look at where we are now, there's nobody you look at like that, and you're thinking, I'm really not sure. There's nobody in this division that you look at and think, I'm not sure, is there? I think we can go into every game, especially now that we've got Burnley away out of the way, and which is probably the most difficult game. We've got that out of the way. We didn't get beat. There's no one to fear, is there?
No. I mean, as far as I look at it this season, it's like everybody else is sort of here, and then Sheffield United are here, and we're here. Do you know what I mean?
It's the Luke Ayling gif, isn't it? Aware of here.
But like, they're better than everybody else in the division, I think, bar us. And when you look at the players individually, I think we are a better squad. On the other hand,
Burnley,
than Sheffield United. They've got a good side. You can't deny that. And as much as I hate Wilder, he's good at this level. He knows what it takes. But I don't fear playing them. I don't fear playing Sunderland. I mean, we dicked Sunderland for all intents and purposes last time, and that were away.
Now they've signed a very, very good player in Laffy. They have, and I know that some people jump the gun on that, saying, "Oh, he's best player in the division." You've got to earn that. He'd not played when they were being given that flag. You've got to earn that, and I think we've got 2, maybe 3 players, because I'd potentially put Tanaka in that alongside Solomon and Dan James, that have got a real shout of player of the season at this point in time. And
for the division, not just for us.
Sorry, that's what I mean. And I think that's, I think there were a team of the season so far that came out, and Tanaka were in it, but we only had 1 or 2 in there, and you're thinking, come on, we're top at league, 5 points clear when this comes out. Come on. And I know they are difficult, and I know that the media, they try and spread it around so it gets a bit more traction. The more clubs you involve, the more clubs responses you're going to get. But I think the 3 of them at least, and Pirot as well, if he keeps scoring at the rate he has done over the course of the last 3 or 4 games, he's going to be right. He could well exceed 20 by some distance if he keeps this going.
Absolutely. I thought Pirot were really good as well. And we often criticise like his link-up play and stuff, but that pass that he played for James, and then the footwork that he did in the box. I saw a comment, I think, from Scooby earlier, and he said, "Is he composed?" And I don't know if he was referring to Pirot or not, but that's who we were talking about at the time. And mate, you can't do that if you're not composed. That guy knew what he was doing.
Saying he was pirouetting. I love that.
It were instinctive.
Pirouetting in the box.
He has got good footwork. He has got good feet. It's just when he's having to come deep and stuff, he ain't got the pace really for that game. And he gets caught a bit, and then he has to sort of make a panic pass to try and then get back to where he should be. And it don't go well, But when he's up front and he's in the right positions, he's absolutely got the ability to play good balls and be in the right places and get past players in a crowded box, and put a shot away. He's shown that time and time again. It's just when he has bad games, they're really bad. And that's what pulls him down and puts a question mark over him with a lot of fans, I think. But I don't care how he plays if he scores. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of them, if you consider the Tanaka to Solomon, and then the Tanaka step over for Pirot to get it, and then the touch in the box, and then just drop it into the bottom corner.
That turn by Tanaka race.
Oh,
that guy didn't know where he'd gone. He were like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, "He's still here," and Tanaka's over here. He's gone, and he's like, "What
the?" But do you remember? So he did do that. But do you remember him doing that in the previous game?
I can't remember.
So it was Tom Ince did it against, and it was Tom Ince did it in last game.
Oh right, okay. You mean the previous Watford game? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. And
it's nice to see Tom Ince showing up.
Yeah. Obviously there were certain select songs aimed at him about him and his dad.
I was just thinking that, and I was thinking, I just won't bother because I can't say it in a nice way.
So yeah, that were quite fun. You know, similar to the Schmeichel chance that we did.
Hang on. Steve Brown says Pirro had 100% pass completion yesterday. Is that true?
Is that right?
That's great if so. You want to find out now, don't you?
I do.
They gave that.
I'm looking at his season stats. That's why. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
He had 16 out of 16 pass completion.
Wow. What a guy. What a guy.
Yeah.
Tell you what. Even Bryn's going to have to give him a pat on the back for that.
Yeah, no, I that had passed me by actually. So yeah, he didn't.
Not like you.
He only lost possession twice. So he didn't miss a pass. And he were barely tackled either. That's crazy.
What a guy.
That's 2 clearances.
We keep saying this now. We keep saying, I think that was his best game for Leeds. He's performing at a hell of a level these last few games. He's really stepped up.
He has. He really has. And I think, that for me, there were a couple of comments, but when I mentioned Joseph, there were a couple of comments that came through the chat. I am in no way writing Joseph off. I still think he's got a big future.
Same.
He's got a capability. It's just he's not ready yet.
Future, not present.
Yeah. Pirro scoring these goals actually takes a lot of emphasis and pressure off Joseph. Yeah. It gives him an opportunity to play that supportive role, to come on and do the pressing and the running around after Pirro's got a goal and an assist and he's come off after 70 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It gives that opportunity, doesn't it? So it's a big deal. I think we spoke just at the end of the January transfer window about that's the one area that I've got some concern if Pirro's not available for any length of time.
Yeah,
that's the only place that we look light.
Yeah,
but while ever he's playing like this, even if you've had a striker on the bench, you're not playing him in front of him.
Absolutely. I did enjoy the first goal that Dan James got, by the way, when their defender played an absolute hospital pass. What? In fact, James is so
especially with him. Yeah.
Yes, it was brilliant. My heart were in my mouth when he ran through. I thought, is he going to put it away? And he did.
Well, he didn't hesitate, did he?
No.
It was one of those where they had the ball for quite a while, and you players that are not on form or are second guessing themselves might have fluffed the lines there, but there were no doubting about it. He picked his spot, opened his body up, made it look like it were going to go one way, faked to the keeper, put it in corner. It were lovely, wasn't it? Does the defender get an assist for that?
I don't know, to be honest.
I don't think he's going to be claiming one, is he? It's like an own goal. You don't want it.
He had a much better game, didn't he, James? Like the game that he had against Coventry, it was decent in the right places, but his end products were just all wrong against Coventry.
Yeah, we misfiring a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah. He looked like his best self against Watford again.
Yeah, and it'd been so good against Cardiff, and for me, I think it might have been you and I on being to yet again.
We good luck. What can I say?
Well, yeah, but that performance that he put in against Cardiff for the first 20-30 minutes, he was just everywhere. He wanted the ball. He were at them. You could see he were on it. He got 2 assists, won a penalty, and scored a goal. That's. He's a winger. That's pretty much a perfect game, isn't it, for a winger?
Yeah, that's right.
So when you set your benchmark that high, it is difficult to maintain, but he has actually pretty much done that throughout the course of the last, as I say, for the last 3 months.
Yes.
But you are right. He misfired a little bit. It were, he hit side netting instead of doing what he did last night and putting it in roof at net. There were bits like that, but I love watching him play football when he's on his game.
Yeah, it's ace, isn't it? Like poetry in motion, isn't it?
He is. One other thing just going back to the lineup for a moment. when Gruev came back in against Burnley, I don't think he got a bit of stick, but I think people were a little bit disappointed. And I know that we've talked about the start already in terms of defensive midfielder, but people were a little bit disappointed because it were almost like we were just going there with a negative mindset and playing a defensive midfielder, and then Tanaka. Rothwell, I think, can count himself a little bit unlucky that he's not playing more games at the moment because he has played well when he's been in. But Gruev played well as well, I thought.
100%. Yeah, he did all right. I mean, they've only given him a 6.8 on Sofa Score, and they gave Ampadu the same, actually. But I'd have put him around the sort of 7, which is solid. And
they didn't really have a lot to do, though, did they? They weren't under any pressure or anything.
It's hard to shine if you're not really involved, and we only had 39% possession. That, you know, if we're low on possession, then players that are winning the ball back and defensive-minded are probably seeing less of it, aren't they? But, you know, we scored 4 goals with 39% possession. We were on the front foot for the majority of the time we had the ball, so it doesn't surprise me. There wasn't any sort of big challenges needed or last-ditch tackles or any of that kind of thing, and everyone just did the jobs well, including those guys. So it's a bit of a low rating for him, I think, 6.8. But you know, I've stopped worrying now. I've stopped worrying when he gets picked, especially after that stat that we've seen.
Yeah. But I think it also we should recognise that Firpo and Bogle being back in the side is such a big deal for us and for the wingers that are in front of him. Bogle's
touch, by the way, when he brought down that crazy clearance,
the crossfield pass, yeah, it was amazing, like wasn't
it? Beautiful.
And then the alien flop to follow it.
That's what we want from a right back. Yeah, he's got better and better. Like he got criticised a lot at the start of the season. Still question marks.
Ball watching Bogle, as Carl called him.
Yeah. Still question marks if we go up as to whether he's good enough at that level. But at this level, he's proven himself last few weeks for me. Absolutely, he's been really important to us, as has Firpo. And the difference when he has come back for Byram and the way that we play down the left with him, just so much more fluid and more attacking minded. He should get an extension, by the way. A year.
Firpo.
Yeah. Deserves that.
I think he's after 2, isn't he?
Probably. But he's not going to get 2 years in the Premier League anywhere, is he? So
no, but what he might do is get 2 years in Spain.
And
how old is he? Well, is he 27?
So he's not like, he's got years yet before he goes for a big payday or anything like that, or a last payday. So take the year. Take the fucking year, lad. Stay with Leeds.
Yeah, he's 28. So he would definitely get another contract beyond that if he took a year from us.
Absolutely.
So, you know, and I think given his impact, you know, obviously the Premier League is a different proposition. And we've talked about enjoying the journey because the destination isn't all that great. Where we've seen the promoted sides and what's happened with them this season.
Oh, God.
And, you know, a fullback's destiny in the Premier League is not entirely in their own hands in the way that it is at the top end of the Championship when you're in a very good team compared to the rest of the division. So I do wonder whether he would be able to impress his attacking on teams in the Premier League and how much forward emphasis would be able to give him. But if you can find a way to play those two as almost as wing backs and have a setup that allows them to do that, they would still be able to do, because what they're doing is creating space, giving the overlap, giving their winger the space in which to operate. They can drop the ball to him and they'll cross it in. You know, the crosses that Firpo puts in, those hard, low, fast crosses, with a quality striker in the middle. And I'm not saying that Piro's not one, but he doesn't have the natural movement of an actual 9, does he? You know, those forward, the front post darts and that sort of thing. He doesn't quite do that. But there's no reason why they can't play the same game if you can cover the shortfalls in their defensive capabilities. Because I think we have to be open to say they're attacking fullbacks for a reason. If you can cover that, there's no reason why they can't do that in the Premier League.
Yeah, possibly. So, I mean, there's a comment there from, I hate reading this name out, WFIA08. for the audio listeners. I think Firpo's been great, but don't know if he cuts it in the PL. I'm not saying give him a year and have him as a first choice left back if we go up. I'm just saying like he's earned a place in the squad for me. He's somebody that you could use as and when needed. He wouldn't be the starting guy for me, I don't think, because I do think it's too big a step up. But at this level,
we've seen at international level, he can play at 10.
Well, he can do it all, can't he?
He can play at 9. Yeah.
What a guy!
No, what a guy, and what a tash. Yeah. So I think if you look at the overall, then Melia didn't really have very much to do. I thought Rodon played really well. He drove the ball forward well into midfield and then dropped it off. Quite often, sometimes he runs out of a bit of a steam, and it's almost like, oh shit, I've gone too far, and what do I do now? And he panics a little bit, and then just passes to the closest man. I thought he were a bit more assured last night, and you know we talked about Firpo, Bogle, and so on. I think if you look across, it was a good team performance.
Oh yeah.
And given that, where's your man of the match go?
Oof. Well, SofaScore gave it to Solomon. I'm going to give it to James, I think.
Yeah. It's a rizzler between them, isn't it? They're both operating at such a level. It's really difficult to fit between them.
I only gave Tanaka a 7, by the way.
Which I think is really harsh. I thought he'd played better than that.
Do you know what? The thing we were just saying, though, about the fullbacks and stuff, that works because of Tanaka, because he drops in and allows the other centre-back to push out to cover, and he's really intelligent like that. He always knows when to stay, when to drop in, when to come back out. And he wins a shit ton of headers back there as well.
He does. He does well. And Gruev's taller than you think as well, and he does pretty well in the air. So, you know, the way that they complement each other, I think, is good. And I think that it's easy to underestimate the impact that they have. Wow, Solomon also had 100% pass accuracy last night.
Apparently so. What a team.
He did. 23 out of 23 passes completed.
That's crazy, isn't it? A goal, 100% pass completion. What a guy.
Wow.
I love watching this team when we play like this. That's the
thing,
this is what I go to games for.
Yeah, and they did have some stick about. I know it were Farke rather than the team about boring football, and it were a bit dour, and it were a bit negative, and it were a bit this, and it were a bit that.
3 assists.
You can't. No, that's not a thing, Roland.
He's not going to give Aaronson anything, are you?
I've deliberately avoided him because I'm bored of saying that he's shit. People are bored of hearing that he's shit. He was shit again. I just don't want to get into it. It's too fucking boring.
I had a little interaction with you on Twitter last night or this morning. I can't remember when. It all blends into one for me. But it said something like, I said, he'd endorsed him, and I said, he played all right, and he's done all right sort of goals-wise. He's scored a few, 8 goals. But his 2 assists is shocking for me. And Joe replied with 10 GA, so 10 goal and assist involvements. And that's a hell of a way to frame it. That is really making stats work for you when you want to. I mean, I thought he was all right last night. I didn't think he had a bad game. I thought he played quite well. But I'd still be happy.
Yeah,
but we don't, and that's what it is.
We don't. Well, we do, but we're not playing them. So,
well,
it just is what it is.
I actually have something to show you, Gilly. A little surprise for you. I found some archive footage of where your sort of blood feud with Aaronson started. Watch this. So there we have it. It's one for the ages, people. It's been a long time coming.
I clearly, I mean, there's something wrong because we're on wrong sides there.
Well,
I mean, he's the one that spent time in Austria, not me.
I had limited time. I've got to thank Danny from Not Another Leeds podcast though, for the picture at the end there.
It's an interesting one. That thanks very much for that.
I knew you'd enjoy it, mate.
I didn't expect that. If we just talk about Watford for a minute, there were a lot of talk beforehand of Chatford Tadzi and whether he were going to be able to impress he's probably their best player, almost certainly their best player. I don't think we saw very much from them. They had somebody in their lineup called Loser, which I thought was quite interesting.
Every time the commentator said it, Loser.
Yeah. Did they have anybody that you take?
No. Not a single one.
No, I think that's fair.
Not one of them.
just a question.
Especially not that defender that kept fucking up and gave James that first goal. Because he did something else, didn't he, later on?
Was that a banquet?
Did he give us a corner? Or he did something stupid? Anyway.
Oh, he did, yeah. He kicked it for a corner about 35 yards away from him.
It's like you just want the ground to swallow you up, wouldn't you, when you're having a game like that in front of all those people? You just be like,
just had a bad day.
Let me disappear. But no, I wasn't impressed with any of them. I keep wanting to call that guy Arveladze, even though that's not his name.
Yeah.
He didn't impress me much either. Deli Bashiru, he didn't impress me much.
No, I didn't think there were much in it from them. I would, as we said, given the second half of the home game, I would a bit surprised that they were not really at the races. Albeit we played well and we had some very, very good performances from our players, it almost felt like we were in third or fourth gear. I don't think that we got anywhere near. We weren't pushed to be on our absolute best, were we?
No, not at all.
So I guess I've just seen that Plymouth are beating Millwall 4-0.
I know, yeah. So, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, so it's I guess it's quite difficult to get a full measure of how good we can be, how good this team can be, until you really put under the cosh, isn't it? Because until you play against the team that is your equal, you can't really impress how good you are.
No, that's true.
But they're going to get a chance to do that in the Premier League. They're going to come up against some difficult fixtures.
It's going to be so much fun
if we get there. Let's say that.
We're all starting to talk about it a bit more now, aren't we? But yeah, there's a little way to go yet.
I don't know if you've seen, but the bookies have stopped offering odds on Leeds getting promoted. You can't bet on it. Yeah.
Wow.
Bearing in mind, it's not even middle of February yet.
No, they're rarely wrong.
It's quite a thing, isn't it?
It's bizarre.
Okay, so we look at our team, we look at the performance that we had. Even the changes that we made, the changes were a bit later than usual. We were a bit surprised that Struijk didn't get a bit more time to get him back up to speed, given how in control we were.
I don't know, really. I think maybe we were just doing so well. He didn't want to disrupt the back line too much, and I don't know. I mean, only Farke knows the answer to that, really.
Yeah. It's just one of those where, you want your squad to get some minutes in the legs, don't you? And keep them ticking over, especially if they've had a short period out of the side. Bringing him on after 88 minutes or whatever it was, it's almost like does that benefit anybody? Is it just using up some time towards the end of the game? Is it? I don't know.
I think so.
That one struck me as a bit odd.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't really see the logic in it. Maybe he just thought, let's not risk an injury to Ampadu or something. I don't know. Maybe Ampadu had said, my leg feels a bit tight or something. We don't know. It were odd. It didn't really make much sense at that point. 87 minutes it was. Just looked. And he didn't, for me, once he came on. But I don't know. I think it was just one of them things that he likes to do, one of his little routine subs. Swap someone out of the back. And I mean, who did they bring on? Because did they bring anyone on up front? Did he want a fresher defender on? I can't remember, if I'm honest.
Brought on
post-match review this.
It is, yeah. Thomas Ince kind of plays in the 10, doesn't he? You mentioned Delabashiru, but that Nabizada, I think it is, he came on and he ran around a bit and got himself involved a little bit without really doing any damage. They made some changes. I think cleverly we're trying to do something in the game. None of them have had any real impact.
No.
Sissoko's legs have gone. I don't think he's
big time.
Yeah, I don't think he's cutting the mustard at the minute. And it was Tommins that he were replaced by, and that was before an hour were up. But you know, he's pushing 36. It's not really a surprise that he's struggling a little bit. You know, that our equivalent of that is Gilavogi, isn't it? And I think
I was just thinking that.
Is he 34? So
something like that. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
So you know, it's not really a surprise.
No.
But you know, if he's at the top of his game, he's not playing for Watford in the Championship. So you know, horses for courses, isn't it? But yeah, I wouldn't have taken any of theirs, especially in light of the performance that we put in.
Absolutely.
So I guess, you know, from a perspective of the starting lineup next time round. So Smart is a big advocate of don't change your winning team. This very much is a winning team. This team being together, he has scored 13 and conceded none in 3 games. If we consider that this team weren't together for the Millwall game,
it's crazy.
Would you be, given that there's a lag between this game and next because we play Monday night, don't we? Given that and given the extra training that they'll get and that sort of thing, would you be tempted with Strike coming back in and Ampadu sliding into midfield?
I'm not changing a thing. Apart from, he'll probably put Rothwell back in if it's a home game.
For Gruev?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'd probably go with, but I wouldn't change anything else about it. I wouldn't want to mess with the defence at all. Not a chance.
No, I think that's fair. It's difficult, isn't it? Because, I mean, the bench is strong, but the team's playing so well. How do you balance? How do you explain to a player, you know, if you look at trying to get minutes into Ramazani and Nonto and we just accept that he's not going to make the change that he should in the middle. How do you sit down either Dan James or Solomon and say, I'm dropping you for next home game when they're on such form?
I don't think you can. I mean, we always say sort of Farke seems to be good at the man management side, so I'm sure he'll know what to do. But I don't think you can sit any of those players down and say, I'm taking you out and putting someone else in. Unless they turn around and say, I'm knackered, I need a rest. And I just don't see that they will. They look like they're really
with 6 days turnaround, that's not going to happen, is it? I can't see.
I thought so.
And they're going to want to play every minute they can while they're on form, because that's the nature of it, isn't it? When you're on a good run, you want to keep going.
That's exactly it. You don't mess with it. They're just picking themselves at the moment, and they're playing so well. Even that game against Coventry, where we all said Dan James wasn't great, he still did pretty well. He was still in all the right places. He kept at it. He never gave up. He never does. He's always switched on. Like when he ran onto that stray ball and scored, you know, he's always on it. He's always ready to go. And when he's playing so well with it as well, he's such an asset. He's such a weapon down the wing. Like every team in the league would kill to have somebody that good playing that way.
Oh, big time. Big time. There ain't a team that would not start Solomon and Dan James. But to be fair, there isn't a team that wouldn't start Ramazani and Nonto. at this level, all 4 of ours would start for anybody else.
Yeah, that is true. It's a good point.
It's quite incredible, really, isn't it? So if we just look forward a little bit, we've got Sunderland at home, Sheffield United away, then West Brom at home, and then Portsmouth away. Is, you know, you look at that, and on the face of it, that's. I mean, not only do we owe them one for the start of the season, but that is a game that we should be looking to win and win quite easily. But it is at their place, and it is at daft o'clock. It's a Sunday, isn't it? So, you know, the course of those next 4 games, I think, will tell a big story, especially what we do against Sheffield United and Sunderland. So, you know, I think we can go into the Sunderland game we're going to go into that on a high, whatever you do. But then there's another 7 days between the Sunderland game and the Sheffield United game. I think the getting the training regime right during that period is absolutely critical. But is there any reason we can't take 12 points from the next 4 games?
I mean, because Leeds, that's a reason. But on paper, no, we should be able to. But Sheffield United are capable of mixing it up. Sunderland are capable of mixing it up. And I'm looking at those 2 games as I'm not massively upset if we only win one of them, as long as we do.
Yeah.
I would like to win both, obviously, but we've got ourselves in a position now where I think we can afford to lose one of them and still be fine. It's just I wouldn't want to lose the momentum and have our run interrupted, but it's going to happen at some point. Hopefully not against them, but it won't be the end of the world as long as we get at least 3 points out of those 2. The next game after that, we should be able to win that.
So, on that basis then, let's say we play Sheffield United, they take 3 points against us, okay? And we go neck and neck for the rest of the season, but I'm offering you now, they'll pip us at the post and they'll beat us to the title. But if I could guarantee your promotion, would you take it?
Normally, I would say, yeah. But now that we're starting to get a little taste, I kind of want to win the thing.
We have 4 points ahead of them, so even if we lose to them, we're still going to stay in front of them.
I'm a guy who likes to roll the dice, so fuck it. No, we're going for
it. We've played 32. It's a 44-game season. Is it 44? 46?
46.
46-game season. We've played 32. Hang on, I'm just trying to work out how close we can get to Reading's. Were it 106, their record?
I can't remember.
So
I'll have to Google it and find out.
14 games left. It's 42 points. There's 111 to play for.
Wow. Yeah, 106. 106.
So we can afford to lose 1 game and draw 3. And
wow.
No, we can't. We can afford to lose 1 game and draw 1.
Is that it? We've got to win everything else?
Yeah.
Wow.
But the last 4 league games, we've put our strongest, what Farke thinks is our strongest 11, because the league is where the focus clearly is, because otherwise you don't make 10 changes for cup. But I'm almost tempted to say, I mean, anything is possible in this game, right?
Absolutely.
But that does mean that everybody else will be thinking anything is possible when they come up against us. And at some point, you think, surely somebody's got to get a result against us at some point.
What we need to do is compare what Reading had at the same point.
Yeah, I'll have a look into that. I'll see if I'll put a spreadsheet together.
Have we had a good enough season to now, or have we come good too late? We need to know.
Oh, Steve Brown's right, actually. I was thinking about the amount of points you get, not the amount of points you drop, because you drop 2 points for a draw. We can only afford to either lose 1 or draw 2.
It's a good job Steve's here. God's sake. It's not like this pod to give out misinformation and bullshit.
If I put it in a spreadsheet, I get it to calculate it for me, you see.
Stop using your brain, man.
Yeah, my maths is shit, but my Excel foo is great.
King of the
it's
formula.
Unlikely, isn't it? It is unlikely that we are going to. I genuinely think that record could stand for the next 50 years. It's quite an incredible record. The record I want to avoid is breaking derbies in the Premier League if we do get up.
God, I just can't see it. Like,
I can't see that ever being broken either, to be honest.
No, I can't. Whatever happens, we are a big name, and once if we become a Premier League club again, people will want to play for Leeds, as long as you can sit them down and say to them, "We're looking at players of this caliber. We're going to bring a few more in like you. You know, you're not going to be the only star player. We're going to get a few. We're going to have a go at this." They're going to have to spend some serious money to do that. Yeah. And I'm hoping that the lack of activity in January is a kind of precursor to that. You know, I hope that's the plan. But we don't know.
It's a nice
the unknown. It is, and it's very unlikely Leeds to do anything that well thought out. But we'll see.
Yeah, they're a bit of an unknown still, aren't they? Because we saw their predecessors have a crack at the Premier League, and let's be fair, they signed some real quality players at points, and they did spend money. So it's a different proposition trying to do it at this level. I hope they get the opportunity because I hope we go up, because otherwise we're in a bit of a heap of shit.
Oh yeah,
but
then we really are fucked.
Yeah, but I think if we can get there, and you consider the reach and the kind of gravitas that 49ers enterprises can bring to it, then you like to think that the future is rosy and it's going to go well and we'll be able to consolidate. But it's one of those. It is one game at a time. It is let's get promoted first.
It is.
I think it's really, really important. So again, I've had some stick online today because of the opinions I've had about someone. There is actually one thing that I do want to mention, and this really made me chuckle. Is somebody compared him to Modric today?
Hey, in what way? Do they look a bit similar?
He plays like him.
Fuck off.
I mean, this is a man that literally won the World Player of the Year. He won the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, it's one of the best to do it.
Yeah, that one did make me chuckle. I did enjoy that. And under scrutiny, he stuck to it. But fine, whatever. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. So it is that, but we just. It is about enjoying what we've got now. We are in a position where I think Roland saw it there.
Yeah,
the Modric comparison's going to take a week. For sure.
It'll be there.
We are so good that it would be daft of us not to enjoy this, especially the fact that we all missed out on it through COVID when we got promoted.
Exactly.
We've really got to enjoy this.
All I want is to be able to go on that final day, having already got promotion, get on that pitch, jump around like a maniac, party with all you lot, and then get really pissed when all our loyal viewers and listeners are there buying us pints for all the season's entertainment in the Peacock. Thank you very much.
Won't it? It will be nice. I think back to Andy Hughes topless on people's shoulders and the goal being thrown around behind him and all of that sort of stuff. And I know there were some scenes outside Elland Road and it genuinely looked amazing. COVID or not, it looked amazing, and the pyro going off and whatever else. I'm annoyed with myself for not being there, and I wasn't there. But the fact that we will be able to really enjoy it and we'll be able to make the most of it, and it's that being in that position, earning the right to then go and celebrate and then to go and play in the league, and but do it without it being behind closed doors. Paddy still gets stick for doing it. It's not his fault.
Hang on. Roland says there's a good chance we will clinch promotion with Imo Leeds. Are you coming back for more, Roland?
Oh, God, we might kill him this time.
Hey, he's a grown man. He can do what he wants. It's not our fault if he ends up in a coma.
Ian Ward says Plymouth have now put 5 past Millwall.
Oh, my God. This is great.
They can beat our second team, but fuck the team, fuck the league. Millwall have scored, though. And just a bit of a check-in. 75 minutes in, it is Sheffield United 1, Middlesbrough 1.
Yeah, got it on in the background. Their keeper made an amazing save, the Middlesbrough keeper.
All right, good.
Close range, spread it.
Everyone else, other than the Swansea City Sheffield Wednesday game, which is in 93rd minute, they're all 2 clear goals at least. So can't see anything else changing. It's just only the Sheffield United Middlesbrough one that's close. So we will see. We will see. It will be a case of. In fact, Steve Brown's just made this point. I was about to make, if tonight's result stays the eye, we'll still be top when we play Sunderland. There's no way that anybody can catch us if it stays as it is.
That'd be
if you're
nice,
4
wouldn't it?
points clear. So, knowing you're going into that game, even the way that you train, knowing that you're going into that game to play against somebody that wants to rival you, whether we see them as rivals or not is irrelevant. They want to rival us.
That's right.
Oh, bollocks.
Oh, what? Oh, come on. You're fucking joking.
Yeah, Sheffield United seem to have. Sheffield United have scored. Just as
There's still time, Middlesbrough. Come on, don't let us
There
down.
is. Get Bill on. Score from outside.
He's already on. He's already on.
Is he?
Yeah. I saw him getting involved when they nearly had a scrap. Obviously.
Oh, he is. He is. Oh, yeah. Of course, he'll have been in that. No problem. It's a shame, but they've got Morgan Whittaker on. They've got Ian Acho on. Oh no, Ian Acho's come off. Well, we'll see.
As long as we do our job, it's in our hands. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. But at least Steve Brown's blaming himself, so we don't have to do it.
Well, that's it. That's great.
Fuck everything. Joe does point out we are going into the Sunderland game knowing the ref's a Sheffield United fan.
Fantastic.
It's great.
How is that allowed?
Well, if you start doing that, then where does the line get drawn?
How is it allowed?
But they're just expected to be professional, aren't they? They're doing a job. I hate the scum. Would it stop me doing my job? I'm not sure that it
stop
would.
Me.
I don't work in football, mind. So
it
is different. But I don't know. The professionals. We played against players, albeit now that I think about it, Jermaine Beckford might as well have had a Leeds shirt on when we played against Preston, and he was there taking the adulation of the crowd and all that. But I think it'd be so difficult to try to manage all of the games and get the officials in and whatever else through the course of the season. As Joe points out, during the running, it's taken into account. But I don't know.
Why then, but not now? If you're going to take it into account at any point, then surely that should just be a consistent rule. Are they saying that bias will come on? Bias will come on at that point, or are they saying that it won't come on the rest of the time, but it will when the chips are down? I just can't. I can't accept that as right.
It's a talking point, certainly, and the fact that it is a talking point means that there's something there to talk about. Otherwise, it won't be a talking point. But is there almost a point of, well, he'll absolutely make sure he refs it well, otherwise he will come under. Will get a lot of stick.
But what consequences are there, Gilly? What's the motivation or the incentive for him to do that? All that will happen is we'll get a letter saying, "Oh, sorry, yeah, he were a bit crap."
Again.
And he might get sent to League One next week for a match, and then he'll be back in Championship. And that's
we'd had 13 apologies, hadn't we, or something mad by Christmas or something stupid.
We're going for 17 in honour of Chelino.
Okay. So I've made all the points I wanted to. I think we've written on a bit longer than I expected to.
Absolutely.
Anything else that you want to shout out?
Just looking forward to the Predictions League tomorrow as somebody got 5 points. And that'll be nice to see. So I'll tune in and catch a bit of that.
Honestly, I haven't got one wrong for about 9 weeks in terms of not backing Leeds and what have you. But because I haven't got it spot on, I've just plummeted down the table because there's so many in the table now that one person gets a 5 and that's it. They just jump 3 places. I've dropped like a stone. Honestly, it's horrible.
Well, it's not for everyone, mate. Being up there, it's not for everyone. I'm trying to get that title back that I never got to celebrate because
Lee Fry is smashing it though.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to think he's involved in some sort of match fixing. That guy.
Whoa!
It's obviously a joke.
Just while we mentioned Lee Fryer, actually, Lee is our conduit into Andy's Man Club, and we've got a message from them. If you're going through a storm or have recently been through one and you're a man over 18, perhaps Andy's Man Club Leeds may be able to help you. With venues in Kirkstall, Pudsey, Central Leeds, Beeston, Seacroft and Morley, open 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Monday, barring bank holidays. They also run weekly and monthly social events with the aim to get men talking and to smash the stigma around men's mental health. Details of the venues and everything they're doing is at Andy's Man Club Leeds Facebook. So go give them a follow and help spread the word. And on that note, I think we're done. So I'll just say thank you to you again, Jay. Thanks for joining me.
Anytime, mate. Anytime.
Get well soon. Make sure you have a Dodder whiskey, the medicinal stuff, just to
talking.
Just to put paid to that.
I'm looking after myself. I had a sitting hot tub earlier before this, and I'll have a whiskey later on before bed.
Sweat it out and then get yourself a whiskey. Yeah, good
Pretty
man.
much.
Thank you to everybody getting involved in the comments. As ever, it does really help us. It keeps things flowing. We like getting your input. We like having your mad takes, and I even like getting the shit from you because you know what, it keeps me relevant. So keep it coming. It's fine. Also, if you can go and rate us on. However, if you're listening on the audio podcast, if you just click to rate and comment and do whatever else, even if you go on and say that Jay smells of elderberries and his mother was a hamster, it doesn't matter what you say. It all helps.
I mean, steady on asking people to rate us because if they're honest, it's not going to go well, is it?
No, but even if it's a shit rating, it still helps with the algorithms. It's fine.
Fair enough. Yes, slate us all you want.
Go and have your say.
Hit that down button. Okay.
Go and have your say. No, genuinely, we really do appreciate that people get involved. It's lovely having a bit of an active community here as well. So look after each other. Look after yourselves. Jake, get well soon. Thank you again, everybody, for getting involved. And we'll see you again tomorrow night for the main podcast. See you, pals.
Goodbye.